Hello and welcome to Chabot News for April 16, 2026. My name is Chantal and today we'll be covering the decline in oil demand, blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and the downfall of Eric Swalwell. In entertainment news, Greg will tell you about Britney Spears going to rehab. And finally, in sports news, Enrique has the latest updates on Cornhole Killer. All that and more coming up in today's edition of Chabot News. The International Energy Agency forecasts the steepest quarterly decline in oil demand since the pandemic. It predicts a drop of 1.5 million barrels a day in the April to June period. The IEA says the war with Iran is increasing prices and decreasing demand. The U.S. benchmark is up roughly $30 a barrel compared to before the war began. The IEA blames attacks on Middle East energy infrastructure and restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is hindering vessels there, and now the U.S. is too. It's blocking ships going to and from Iranian ports. The good news is the cost of gas is down by a penny this week. Chabot says regular now averages $4.12 a gallon. The military says it has stopped 6 merchant ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, there are 12 Navy ships and more than 10,000 service members enforcing a blockade there. They are stopping ships from any country that are traveling to or from ports in Iran. U.S. Central Command says the 6 ships it stopped turned around. It also says it is supporting freedom of navigation for vessels in the strait. That means ships that are free to travel so long as they aren't visiting Iranian ports. It's not known if the military is escorting merchant vessels through the strait. Representative Eric Swalwell has experienced a swift downfall. Less than a week after sexual misconduct allegations became public, he suspended his gubernatorial campaign in California and is resigning from Congress. Most of his accusers have not been identified, including one woman who says he raped her. But another woman talked openly to CNN about what she says happened to her. Pamela Brown has a story.
He thought that he was untouchable. He didn't care what he was putting out there. He thought that all of these women would stay loyal to him.
Allie Samarco never wanted to go public with her interactions with Congressman Eric Swalwell, but now she sees it as the only way for him to face accountability.
I don't take any pride really in this. I feel like it was the right thing for me to do. I had to do it. And I give a lot of credit to the women that spoke out and told their stories, as horrible it was for them to recollect them. I'm so proud of them for doing that. And I felt like I needed to speak up to validate their experiences.
She first met Swalwell in 2021.
I followed him on Twitter for a long time. I was an admirer of his. I thought he was a great politician, an up-and-coming politician. And I truly never thought he would respond. He had over 1 million followers. And not only did he responded very quickly, and he was very eager to talk to me. And that took me by surprise. He asked me to come to the Capitol to meet him and meet his staff, and he would introduce me to people that would help. I went to the Capitol, and I didn't meet anybody but him. We went into his office, and he closed the door, and it was just the two of us. We talked for 20 minutes, and then after that, I left, and he sent me a text message saying, "Could you feel the tension in the room between us?" So from there, the messages shifted to much more personal, much more inappropriate, and crossing a line.
But he eventually started to text her late at night. In one screenshot she shared with CNN, Swalwell mused if he should, quote, pour a nightcap, and referred to her as, quote, the bad angel tempting me. And in another, he asked for her Snapchat information. That app, often used because of its disappearing message function, was where she said their conversations became inappropriate.
Tell me more about the unsolicited photos he sent you. Yeah, so the messages gradually became more inappropriate, and they became later into the night, times that nobody should be talking to a congressman, or a congressman should be talking to a young girl. And he would say things like, "What are you doing? What are you wearing? Send me a photo of what you're doing right now." And then eventually one night we were talking and he just sent me a photo of his genitals.
Unsolicited.
Unsolicited, yeah. And I thought he could help me. I felt like, again, I had just made a huge connection who was interested in helping me. And if I were to push him away in any way, he might not. He might just stop talking to me altogether.
Swalwell denies allegations of sexual misconduct and, in the case of another woman, rape. He announced Monday he plans to resign from Congress and has already suspended his campaign for California governor. He said in a statement, quote, "I will fight the serious false allegations made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make."
Tell me about the power imbalance and what it felt like.
It felt huge. It's insurmountable. He was a national politician who at one point even ran for president, and I was someone just starting in my career. I didn't think that this was someone who would put themselves out there in a way that could be exposed. So I trusted him. I trusted that even though he's saying something that feels a little off, that he knows what he's doing.
Now he's dropped out of the race and he's resigned from Congress. What do you say to that?
Because Eric Swalwell ran for governor, that doesn't mean he's immune from the consequences of his actions. He never should have ran for governor to begin with, knowing what he knows. And nobody else is responsible for what happened to him. Eric Swalwell is responsible for Eric Swalwell, not the media, and definitely not the women.
Thanks for that great story, Pamela. On the 15th, Eric Swalwell officially resigned from Congress. A special election for his seat could take place this summer. Some California residents are worried someone might have tried to poison a dog. A man who lives next to Sacramento area park says someone threw Tylenol-Laced hot dogs on his lawn. Experts say Tylenol is highly toxic and even potentially deadly for dogs. The man says his pet was eating a piece of hot dog when he noticed the pill inside. He says he got his dog to spit up the food and used the pill label to identify it. Surveillance video from earlier shows someone on a bike appearing to toss something onto the man's property. The animal shelter that serves Sacramento County is warning pet owners to be vigilant. Tylenol also is highly toxic to cats. Experts say some signs of poisoning in felines are weakness, rapid breathing, a high heart rate, vomiting, or drooling. Severe symptoms in dogs include discolored gums, facial or paw swelling, yellowing skin, dark urine, or collapse. Not everyone on GLP-1 drugs like Wegovy and Zepbound drops weight. Clinical trials suggest about 10 to 15% of people who try them are non-responders when it comes to substantial weight loss. However, there is mounting evidence showing other health benefits from GLP-1 medications besides losing weight. GLP-1s can reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes and improve outcomes in heart failure even when participants don't lose weight or if they gain weight. According to new findings from researchers at the University of Toronto, the drugs may also improve liver health. Their ability to tamp down inflammation may be a key reason the drugs help with heart conditions and kidney disease in ways independent of weight loss. Effective this year, California Medi-Cal ceased coverage for GLP-1 drug prescriptions based solely on weight control. Now let's go to sports with Enrique Peña-Ponce.
Thanks, Chantal. A Maryland grand jury has indicted a quadruple amputee and professional cornhole player on multiple charges, including first-degree murder. Prosecutors say Dayton Weber shot and killed his friend, 27-year-old Braddock Wells. on March 22nd, the shooting allegedly took place inside Weber's vehicle during a dispute between the two men. Officials say accommodations will be made for Weber's physical limitations while he is in custody. Weber's attorney says the shooting was in self-defense and that it stemmed from a struggle over the gun. Weber being held without bond. A championship-winning Division I women's rugby team in Connecticut is getting cut. Quinnipiac University announced the move this week, leaving those close to the program in shock. In a statement, the university calls the move a strategic realignment and it's, quote, essential to ensuring Quinnipiac athletes remain equitable, competitive, and sustainable for the long term. Alona Mayer, an alumni who won an Olympic bronze medal in women's rugby, posted on Instagram, "Shame on you," and tagged the school and athletic department. A Quinnipiac assistant coach has started a petition on change.org calling on the university to reverse this decision. I'm Enrique. Now back to Chantal with more news.
Thanks, Enrique. The King and Queen of the Netherlands kicked off their visit to the U.S. in the city of brotherly love on Monday. King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima were welcomed in Philadelphia by Pennsylvania's governor and First Lady. The royal couple toured Independence Hall and saw the Liberty Bell in recognition of America's 250th anniversary of independence. The visitors also held a business roundtable and visited students at a creative and performing arts high school. After the Philadelphia visit, the King and Queen went on to Washington, D.C., where they were greeted by President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump Monday night. The royal couple's next destination is Miami. The Artemis II mission has broken the record for the furthest distance humans have traveled from Earth. The Apollo 13 mission set the previous record in 1970 with a distance of 248,655 miles. Artemis II's Orion spacecraft surpassed that point on Monday afternoon. In total, Artemis II is expected to reach 252,760 miles total during its mission, surpassing Apollo 13's mission total by just over 4,000 miles. Later in the day, Orion went into and then emerged from an expected communications blackout of 40 minutes when it traveled behind the moon. That pass-by represented the spacecraft's closest approach to the moon, within 4,067 miles. Orion is now technically beginning its return to Earth, as the Artemis II mission's objective is to land humans on the moon again. We sent our reporter Amalik Singh out to ask students if they would consider living on the moon.
Personally, just me, I would not sign up to live on the moon because I hear it degenerates your muscles, and I already have no muscles. I don't want to know. Would I go concave or something? Personally, that's not up to me. So, no. Also, I think I'd get bored up there, really. I mean, what is there? It's rocks. It's like dusty, gray rocks. It's not for me.
You know, I've been thinking about that, and I would try it. I would try it, but there's nothing like living on Earth. You know, I would never get used to living in outer space on the moon. It would always feel strange, but if I have to go, I will go.
I would not live on the moon because there's too many things on Earth that I enjoy and I would miss, like the beach, the trees, all my friends and family. So no, I would not live on the moon.
Thanks for that excellent report, Amalik. One North Dakota teacher made a promise to her students that she would keep in touch. Decades later, she has kept that promise by sending them all letters. Jody Kurzman reports how she and her former students are enjoying the trip down memory lane.
There you go, guys.
Natalie Shetler began her teaching career
We'll see.
20 years ago.
It's hard to believe it's been 20 years.
After teaching fifth grade for 18 years at two different elementary schools, she's now teaching U.S. history
Good job, bud.
to eighth graders at Wachter Middle School.
And that's my passion, is teaching history. I love
Mrs. Shetler is also passionate about keeping her promises,
These are my first ever students.
even the ones she made 2 decades ago.
My first class was 2006, 2007, and I made a promise to those kids, and I was young, my first year out of college and teaching, and I said, you know, this is an important year. Like, you're my first ever group of kids that I got to teach and really got to know. And I said, when you guys graduate, I will send you a letter and share some photos.
She has continued that tradition every year since.
I try to share little tidbits about that school year in each letter and let the kids know how I'm doing and where I'm at with my family as well, so they feel connected.
We have a 13-year-old.
Bismarck High School seniors Opal Sorensen.
You may not believe it, but I have not forgotten any of my former students.
And Talon Reeder.
Thank you for being such a fun class.
Got Mrs. Shetler's letter this year.
Yes, I still write in all caps.
They say this letter
You all hold a special place in my heart.
brought back some good 5th grade memories.
I just thought it was really cool, like, seeing my former teacher, like, taking the time just to, like, give us this letter. It's, like, really special.
It's cool to see how far we've all come. I mean, I looked at all of our pictures and we all look so different. So just seeing all that was super cool.
Most of them at Bismarck High.
And Mrs. Shetler says digging through these old photos,
that was probably my largest class I ever had.
Is fun for her
and
too.
This one's pretty cool. This is COVID year.
Each photo sparks a memory.
And when I see their names in like the paper or for things they've done and jobs they got, it makes me so happy.
And she says each photo is a good reminder of why she became a teacher in the first place.
These guys hold a really special place in my heart.
Thanks for that heartwarming report, Jody. Shetler says she still gets to see many of her former students since they go to high school where her husband is a teacher. Since most U.S. airlines rely on imported jet fuel, airlines are scrambling to the number of canceled flights. You will soon have fewer flight options as a result of the war in Iran. United Airlines says it will be cutting flights to the surging fuel prices caused by the war. In a memo Friday, the CEO says the affected flights will be the ones that are less popular, including midweek and overnight flights. The memo noted how jet fuel prices more than doubled since the war began in late February. The CEO noted the surging price could cost the airline an extra $11 billion this year alone. It's unfortunate that most of the flights that will be cut are the short-length commuter flights. This will largely impact more rural airports and smaller cities. Now let's go to Greg Driscoll with entertainment news.
Thanks, Chantal. Britney Spears is voluntarily seeking specified treatment in a facility. The singer's representative confirmed she checked herself in. It comes shortly after she was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence last month. Spears has a long history with mental health struggles and was under conservatorship for several years. That ended in 2021. Since then, the toxic singer has erratically posted bizarre content on social media that has concerned some fans. Her camp says the treatment might be the first step in overdue change that has been needed in her life. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is ready to welcome in a few new members. 18 artists got the nod this year in several categories. Among those to go into the Hall of Fame in the performer category include Sade, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang Clan, Billy Idol, and Oasis. There's also the Early Influence Award category, which includes Celia Cruz and Queen Latifah, and legendary host Ed Sullivan gets an award nod for a non-performer whose influence in rock and roll growth impacted culture. The 2026 induction ceremony is scheduled for November 14th in Los Angeles. That's it for today in entertainment. Now back to you, Chantal.
Thanks, Greg. Now grab the tissues because this one is a heartwarming tearjerker. A 95-year-old veteran in Southwest Ohio has a special relationship with area school children. Daisy Kershaw reports on how the kids gave back to him.
Hi, kids.
Meet Bob Jones, a man who makes time each day to make someone else's day a little brighter.
I toot their horn and I wave at the kids and bus drivers, and they wave back. And a lot of people in the cars wave, and the kids roll the window down and holler, Mr. Bob. And some of them says, I love you. And
For 20 years, the Mount Carmel Air Force veteran has waited outside his home to wave as school buses drive past.
My sister drives for a bus, and this is the second or third generation of students that are coming by and that will say hi to him as they go past. He's just a role model in so many ways for little kids.
I just love the kids. I love them, and I thank them for loving me. It's just a blessing to wave at them.
Last week for his 95th birthday, Jones getting the gift of a lifetime. A parade of school buses packed with smiling students, all waving as they rode past Jones' home.
I just emotional. The Lord has really blessed me.
Oh yeah, this is your present.
We can all learn a thing or two from Jones. He's proof that the smallest act of kindness can make the biggest difference.
Tell your friends you love them, and people like to be told they're loved.
Thanks for that beautiful report, Daisy. Neighbors say everyone who meets Jones seems to love him. Forecasters are warning that an El Niño may be forming, but this time around, early signs signal this could qualify as a rare super El Niño with stronger than typical impacts. The climate cycle is developing in the Pacific Ocean near the equator. In the United States, it can lead to winter storms in the west and south, bringing the risk of flooding. Strong El Niños have also been linked to heat waves in the U.S. and elsewhere. Meteorologists will be watching closely to see if it forms as expected and just how powerful it becomes. The El Niño is expected to set in by late summer or early fall. This could mean that Central and Southern California could have a much wetter and warmer winter than normal. Officials are warning that the South Hayward BART station may be shut down as part of a broader cost-cutting plan. The Bay Area Rapid Transit System is considering a contingency plan that includes closing the South Hayward station if a proposed regional sales tax measure fails in the November 2026 election. Transit leaders say the move is part of an effort to address a looming budget shortfalls that could force major service reductions across the system. City leaders in Hayward are pushing back. In a letter to BART's board of directors, Mayor Mark Salinas expressed strong opposition, warning the closure could disproportionately affect working-class neighborhoods surrounding the station. Officials say many residents in the area rely heavily on public transit and include large numbers of renters, immigrants, and non-English speaking households. City officials also argue the move could undo years of investment in transit-oriented development near the station, which has been designed to support housing and sustainable growth. A proposed closure is not final. It would only take effect under a worst-case financial scenario if voters reject new funding later this year. A 5,500-mile cross-country journey that began last fall made its way through part of Montana on Sunday. A man named Noah Coughlin is the person embarking on this challenge, with plans to hit all 50 states by Independence Day. Jordan Reedman reports on Coughlin's motivation.
For Noah Coughlin, every step is part of something much bigger, a run across the country that's taken years to complete.
I've been running for the American people 5 different times under 5 different routes across 15 years.
This time, he's finishing what he started, a final push to travel across all 50 states on foot.
I would say the average is about a marathon a day, about 26.
Pushing through the miles and the wear and tear.
8 pairs of shoes. I'm burning about 5,000 to 7,000 calories a day, and a few scrapes and nothing major, nothing broken. I've lost 28 pounds.
But it's not just about the run.
It's called Run for America, a tribute to the American people. I wanted to use this run to turn the attention towards the American people.
From small towns to big cities, he's stopping to meet people, carrying a flag that sparked conversations everywhere he goes.
It's just been a really special experience as an American, walking across America with our national emblem And you're seeing it's a magnet. You're seeing people pull over, and it means a lot to everybody.
And it's those moments that stick with him the most.
What really gets it to me is the amount of the youth that are watching this.
His run will continue through Montana, Idaho, and Oregon before he makes it to his final 2 stops.
The whole story will end with Alaska, Hawaii, specifically Hawaii on July 4th.
One run across every state and an impact felt every mile along the way.
Thanks, Jordan. You can read more on Noah's journey on his website, runforusa.com. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/Chabot TV. Stay tuned to KCTH Channel 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.